There is a quiet paradox in the human heart. The more we try to hold life still, the more it slips through our fingers. The more tightly we grasp at love, peace, or meaning, the more distant they seem to become. It is as if the act of reaching creates the very distance we wish to cross. Like a wave chasing its own reflection, we move faster and faster, not realizing that what we long for is already moving within us. Have you noticed how the sky never tries to be blue? It simply allows itself to be what it is. And in that allowing, the whole world takes a breath. We too began that way, soft, unguarded, alive to each moment. But somewhere along the path, we learned to measure ourselves, to divide experience into enough and not yet. We began to chase the light we already carried. This chase is subtle. It hides behind goals and plans, behind the careful language of becoming. It whispers, "When I finally arrive, then I will rest." But the horizon keeps walking away. If you listen closely, you may hear the sound beneath the sound, the gentle hum of existence that asks for nothing and yet gives everything. It is there between thoughts, between breaths, between one heartbeat and the next. It waits for your attention, the way morning waits for dawn. Perhaps the paradox is not that life withholds peace, but that we have forgotten how to stop negotiating with it. We treat peace as a prize, not as a presence. We demand love prove itself instead of letting it breathe through us. Imagine standing at the edge of the sea. Each wave arrives, breaks, and disappears. Yet the ocean never complains of loss. It knows that the movement itself is completeness. What if we too could live as the ocean does, in rhythm rather than resistance? To see this clearly is not an achievement. It is a remembering. The heart already knows how to rest. The breath already knows how to return. The soul has never been in a hurry. So let this be the beginning. Not a search for more, but a soft return to what has always been enough. Let us step quietly into the space between striving and surrender. There, in the hush before thought, something begins to open. A recognition, almost imperceptible, that you are not separate from what you seek. Stay there for a moment. Breathe. The journey does not start with a step forward. It starts with a step inward, a stillness that whispers, "You are already home." It often begins quietly, almost unnoticed. A small tension beneath the surface of our days, a subtle sense that something is missing, though we cannot name what it is. We move through our routines like travelers lost in familiar cities, searching for a doorway we somehow walked past. There is no shame in this. It is simply the rhythm of a world that has forgotten how to pause. We are taught from an early age to become, to improve, to reach for what is next. And so we begin to mistake motion for meaning, noise for presence, attention for love. The world rewards the ones who hurry. It praises the busy and crowns the restless. And yet when the lights dim and the applause fades, there is often a quiet ache that remains. It speaks softly but insistently. Is this all there is? We scroll through lives that are not ours, compare the warmth of our hands to the glow of distant screens. We chase the promise of arrival, that elusive moment when everything will make sense, when finally we will be enough. But arrival never arrives. It always shifts a few steps ahead, whispering, "Just a little further." We begin to build our sense of self on fragile ground, on how we are seen, how we are wanted, how we are chosen. And when those mirrors crack, we mistake their reflection for truth. Our worth becomes conditional, balanced on the approval of others. We shrink and stretch ourselves to fit the shapes that please the crowd, forgetting the form of our own soul. Notice how the mind becomes a restless architect, always constructing futures or repairing pasts. It cannot rest in the simple architecture of now. It worries the moment, like a stone rolled endlessly in the palm. And the heart, in turn, grows weary, longing not for grandeur but for gentleness. Fear begins to dress itself as discipline. We call our anxiety ambition, our exhaustion purpose. We speak of productivity as though it were prayer. And somewhere beneath all the noise, the spirit quietly wonders when it will be allowed to breathe again. Sometimes we reach for others, hoping they will quiet the storm inside. We build attachments out of hunger, not harmony, out of the need to be seen, not the joy of seeing. But no one can drink the thirst of another. Love offered as rescue becomes another form of captivity. There are moments, too, of anger, not loud but heavy. Anger at the self for not being happier, calmer, wiser by now. Anger at life for refusing to bend to our plans. And yet anger, when listened to softly, is only grief in disguise. Grief for the simplicity we once knew before we began to chase perfection. It is easy to believe that something is wrong with us. But perhaps nothing is wrong at all. Perhaps we are simply tired from running in circles around what never needed to be pursued. Perhaps the ache is not a flaw, but an invitation. What if all this effort, all this longing, is not evidence of failure, but a sign that we are ready to return, ready to remember the stillness beneath the striving? For beneath every fear, there is a gentler truth waiting to be felt, that we were never meant to earn peace. We were meant to remember it. Imagine for a moment that nothing needs to be fixed. Not your pace, not your past, not even the restless hum inside your chest. Imagine that everything you've been running from has only been waiting to be seen. There comes a quiet turning point, often without ceremony. You stop mid-chase, not because you've arrived somewhere, but because you begin to notice the one who has been chasing. The seeker and the sought are not two. They are the same breath, moving in circles, pretending to be separate. It's strange at first, this soft reversal, to see that all the effort, the striving, the endless reaching, was like a wave trying to grasp the ocean it already belonged to. To realize that what you've been searching for is not out there, but right here, in the space between one heartbeat and the next. There is no enlightenment to gain, only noise to outgrow, no perfection to reach, only the permission to be whole as you are. The tree does not apologize for the direction its branches take. The river does not compare its path to another stream. Yet we, children of the same earth, doubt our own unfolding. Perhaps freedom is not something you achieve, but something you stop resisting. When you stop clenching around life, it flows again. When you stop trying to prove your worth, worth begins to breathe through you. Notice how the simplest things hold the greatest clarity. The sound of rain without interpretation. The rhythm of your breath when you forget to control it. The warmth that fills your chest when you see something beautiful and expect nothing in return. These are small openings through which truth quietly enters. Awakening is not loud. It does not arrive with lightning or trumpets. It slips in through the cracks, in the sigh after a long struggle, in the laughter that escapes when you finally stop taking yourself so seriously. It's the moment you realize you don't have to hold it all together, that the universe has been carrying you this entire time, even while you believed you were falling. You begin to see that fear, too, has been a teacher, showing you where your trust had not yet grown roots. You begin to see that pain is not punishment, but purification, a kind of fire that reveals what cannot be burned. And so, awareness begins to widen. You start to observe your own thoughts the way you'd watch clouds drifting across the sky. They come, they go, they change shape, but the sky remains. That sky is you. You are not the story you tell yourself. You are the quiet behind it. You are not your successes or your mistakes. You are the stillness from which they arise. This realization does not demand that you abandon the world. It invites you to meet it differently, not as something to conquer, but as something to commune with. The tree outside your window, the stranger on the street, the sound of your own pulse, all part of one continuous movement, a single breath of existence exhaling itself into form. In this seeing, something softens. The battle between who you are and who you should be begins to dissolve. You no longer chase completion, because you've seen that wholeness was never missing, only overlooked. And in that quiet space, life becomes less of a problem to solve and more of a rhythm to listen to. You begin to hear it, that gentle hum underneath everything, reminding you were never separate from the song. Part 4, Resolution, Acceptance. Now the movement slows. Like twilight settling over the day, everything begins to soften. You start to see that there is no finish line to reach, only the grace of arriving, moment by moment, exactly where you are. The mind may still flicker with questions, but they no longer feel urgent. They dissolve like ripples in a lake after the stone has already sunk. And in their place comes a silence that does not demand answers. Acceptance is not surrender in defeat. It is surrender in trust. It is saying yes to what already is, to the breath as it moves in and out, to the ache as it unfolds into understanding. It is the realization that even the parts of you once tried to exile belong to the same wholeness you've been seeking. Sit with that for a moment. Everything that has ever been part of your journey, the longing, the fear, the mistakes, the beauty, all of it has been your teacher. Each step, even the stumbling ones, has led you back to the simple knowing that life was never asking you to be perfect, only to be present. There is a strange relief in letting go of control. The river never argues with the current. It flows because that is its nature. And when you stop fighting your own nature, you find that life carries you more gently than you ever carried yourself. So you begin to trust the pauses, the spaces between words, the seasons where nothing seems to grow. You realize that rest is not the opposite of progress. It is part of the same rhythm. A breath in, a breath out, a bloom, a falling leaf, both belonging. From this place, love begins to change shape. It no longer comes dressed as urgency or need. It feels quieter now, more spacious, like sunlight that touches everything without trying to possess it. You stop clinging to people or moments out of fear. Instead, you allow them to come and go, knowing that what is meant to stay will not need to be chased. Peace doesn't announce itself. It simply fills the space where resistance used to live. It's in the warmth of morning light on your skin, in the sound of your own laughter, unforced, in the way you begin to forgive yourself without ceremony. You start to speak more gently, not just to others, but within your own mind. You treat yourself the way you might treat the earth, carefully, with reverence. You realize that growth is not a race upward, but a deepening downward into the roots of understanding. Slowly, life stops feeling like something you have to master. It begins to feel like a companion you can walk beside. Each moment becomes a teacher, each silence a friend. And so acceptance becomes an art of noticing, noticing the way your breath rises when joy arrives, and how it still rises when sorrow does too. You see that both are waves of the same ocean, and that peace is not the absence of movement, but the willingness to move with it. Then there comes a tenderness that words can barely hold. You begin to look at the world as if it were a reflection of your own heart, flawed, luminous, constantly becoming. And for the first time, you stop asking it to be different. You simply say, "Thank you for this breath, for this moment, for this chance to be here again and again." And now, everything begins to quiet. The noise that once filled every corner of your mind fades, not because it has been silenced, but because you've stopped feeding it. There is a gentleness now, a widening of space inside you, as if life itself has taken a deeper breath. The world looks the same, but it feels different. Colors seem softer, time less demanding. You start to realize that peace was never hidden. It was only waiting for you to stop searching. You no longer try to hold moments still. They move through you, some tender, some sharp, and you let them pass like wind through tall grass. Even sadness feels sacred now, a reminder that your heart is still open, still willing to feel. There is a grace in this kind of seeing. You begin to recognize that every joy and every ache has been part of the same teaching, that nothing needs to be clutched to be cherished. You can love without owning, walk without rushing, speak without convincing. Notice how the smallest things have grown luminous. The sound of footsteps in evening light, the breath of air before rain, the warmth of a hand resting briefly on your shoulder. All of it, ordinary and infinite at once. This is what happens when striving falls away. Life returns to its natural rhythm. There is no longer you and it. There is only movement, the inhale and the exhale, the wave and the shore, the self and the world, all one seamless dance. You might laugh softly at how long you spent trying to become what you already were. All that reaching, all that effort, and still, here you are, arrived without moving an inch. There is no finish line, only unfolding. No destination, only presence. No need to grasp the moment, for the moment has always been holding you. Let it be simple now. Let it be light. The heart does not need to prove its worth. It only needs to stay open. The mind does not need to understand. It only needs to rest. And when you breathe, really breathe, you can feel the whole universe breathing with you. Every leaf, every wave, every star in the dark, all pulsing to the same quiet rhythm. Perhaps this is what love truly is. Not possession, not completion, but recognition. A soft remembering that everything, including you, already belongs. Stay here a moment longer. Listen to the silence behind the words. It has been speaking to you all along in the language of stillness, in the patience of light. And as the final thought dissolves, something inside you whispers, not loudly, but with absolute clarity. You were never separate. You were always the ocean. You were always home.